Stanley, while the Houston Astros are giving away a Pride-themed puffer jacket, and the Kansas City Royals are giving you a Pride-themed pack with several Pride items, and the Colorado Rockies are giving away Pride sunglasses. Whether you're a Go Cubs Go or a Go Go White Sox, we all know one thing, that love is love, and June is Pride Month. Happy Pride Month from WCPT, everyone, and this has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Volunteering is an opportunity to make a huge difference.
I'm a part of the solution.
Do you want to make a difference? If you volunteer, you can. Making a difference for you, your community, and your country. Join America's Volunteers. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Hi, I'm Marcel Spears. Keeping our global neighborhood safe is a tough job, one made just a bit safer with the help of America's brave military dogs. These dogs, who often take the same risks and make the same sacrifices as our human warriors, keep our troops safe by sniffing out bombs and IEDs, locating enemy positions, and bringing a sense of comfort and home to an almost unimaginable circumstance. Yet, when these brave canine heroes retire, they're not always given the same treatment as our military VIPs, and are too often left overseas. American Humane works to bring home these valiant dogs and reunite them with the people who mean the most to them, their handlers, so they can enjoy happy, healthy, well-deserved retirements. To learn how you can help America's four-footed heroes, visit AmericanHumane.org.
You're listening to WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk station, where facts matter and truth always wins. Stay informed, stay engaged.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. An Air India passenger plane with more than 240 people on board crashed Thursday in India's northwestern city of Ahmedabad. The airline said the flight included Indians, British, Portuguese, and a Canadian. An official says flight AI-171 crashed into a residential area 5 minutes after taking off at 1:38 p.m. local time. The flight was bound for London's Gatwick Airport. AP correspondent Karen Shamas reports on a UN vote that finds Iran is not complying with nuclear obligations.
The UN Nuclear Watchdog's Board of Governors has formally found that Iran isn't complying with its nuclear obligations for the first time in 20 years. The move could lead to further tensions with Iran and set in motion an effort to restore United Nations sanctions on Tehran later this year. Iran reacted immediately, saying it will establish a new enrichment facility after the vote against it. The announcement said the facility will be in a secure location and that other measures are also being planned. According to anonymous sources, 19 countries on the International Atomic Energy Agency's board voted for the resolution. I'm Karen Shamas.
A federal court hearing set for Thursday will consider whether the Trump administration can use the National Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids in Los Angeles. Dozens of mayors in the LA area are urging the administration to stop the immigration raids. That sound of protesters on a Spokane street looking at police officers chanting, "We are peaceful, you are violent." Audio is provided by KREM-TV. The demonstrations are spreading nationwide, with more expected over the weekend. And Trump announced that China will make it easier for U.S. companies to obtain rare earth minerals. In return, the U.S. will stop efforts to revoke the visas of Chinese nationals on U.S. college campuses. This is AP News. AP's Jennifer King reports on deadly floods in South Africa.
Dozens of people have died in flooding in South Africa's southeastern provinces after a cold front brought high winds, heavy rains, and an unusually large snowfall. Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane told reporters searches continue and more bodies are expected to be recovered.
The numbers are just escalating an hour after hour. So the situation is so bad.
The premier said 6 high school students were washed away when their school bus was caught in floodwaters near a river on Tuesday. 3 of the students were rescued as they clung to trees and cried out for help.
We are all on the ground assessing the damage to support relief operations and engage directly with affected families.
Mthatha, the main city in the Eastern Cape province, is at the center of the weather disaster. Schools, hospitals, and hundreds of homes have been damaged. I'm Jennifer King.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, although near 64. Friday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy, high of 81 degrees. Then by Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high of 79. Sunday, cloudy, high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 70.
Celebrate the culmination of Pride Month in Chicago by attending the Chicago Pride Parade, a celebration of love and unity on Sunday, June 29th. This year's theme, United in Pride, highlights the power of coming together, embracing our diversity, and championing love and equality as one united force. Together, we are unstoppable. You can watch anywhere along the route, from Broadway and Grace to Diversey and Sheridan. For more information, visit pridechicago.org and make sure to keep your eyes out for the WCPT float. If you can't attend the parade in person, you can listen live as Scott Duff and Ellen Miller describe all the excitement on WCPT 820 on Sunday, June 30th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The WCPT Live Parade broadcast is sponsored by the Center on Halsted and by Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. WCPT 820, your Pride station in Chicago.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Thursday morning, progressives, and welcome, yes, to the June 12th, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. Email me, of course, as always, at richard@WCPT820.com. Also, you make your way over to Substack. Check out the articles that I've had there. You know, we are so fortunate here at CPT because we've got such a great group of people. And I always talk about our Heartland Signal digital platform, but they provide us with so much content, so much information. Catch all of our shows, of course, by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify. There you can get Choose Views, short versions and long versions. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Driving it home with Patty Vasquez. I just love saying that. Driving it home with Patty Vasquez. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath. Out Chicago and our other shows and interviews. We have a great team. I love our team. My man Henry's got us going this morning off to the races. So, you know, as I said, make your way over to our Heartland Signal digital platform. We're going to be taking your calls today, 6:30 to 7:30. And then our guest today will be Michelle Duster, author, historian, and great-great-granddaughter of none other than Ida B. Wells. So Michelle will be with us in the 7:30 hour, and we'll be taking your calls from 6:30 to 7:30. We've got some great clips for you today, so we look forward to getting that to you. And speaking of that, check this out, progressives.
To be a white supremacist in the United States of America, the most ethnically and culturally diverse society in human history. And these dudes are on the news like, this is a white country. Like, no, it's not, dog. Turns out every large city in the United States has a China inside of it. You should probably leave your road. What a frustrating place to be a white supremacist. Can you imagine going to literally any city in the United States, walking around being like, look at all these people different than me having a good time. This is
That is none other than Cliff Cash. Cliff isn't going to be with us today. He was with us last week, but God, is he funny, and is he spot on. I mean, just think about that. pretty much every town you go to, the top 50 cities in America has a China in it. I love how he phrases that, but it speaks to a point, y'all, that we are the most diverse country by our sheer size, but also by the fact that we have had such a strong amount of immigration and migration and all the rest for decades, for centuries, frankly. And it's the thing. This is what cracks me up. Like, white dudes, y'all ain't gonna lose anything when folks of color acquire and do. They're not taking your stuff. And in some ways, it makes me wonder, are you really as competitive? I'm talking about the narrow-minded, Neanderthal, racist, sexist, misogynist, privileged guys, not the other guys. Y'all know that. Just so I'm clear, so no one says, Shu said that all white guys. No, I'm not saying that. I would never, ever. Because first of all, reason I wouldn't say it, and not because it's not appropriate. I don't believe it. Some of my best boys since grade school have been a few shades lighter than me. And they're down for the count. Step to the mic when somebody decided to call me the N-word, Henry, or treat me disrespectfully. Some of my best allies have been my Caucasian brothers. So let me be perfectly clear to my brethren of all communities and sisterin. We are the most powerful nation and the most successful nation on the planet for a reason, and it's because of the diversity of folk, which leads to diversity of thinking, which leads to diversity of success. The guys out there, and I'll cite you an example that a good friend of mine shared with me a few years ago. He said, Chew, one of my Caucasian brothers, he said, Chew, you want to know something? I've caught more hell and trouble from guys that look like me than I have from anybody else, period. That tells me something. It tells me that we all have garbage and goofy and silly people in our lives of all shapes and sizes and colors. And as I try to be inspirational in this conversation around immigration and diversity and blending and all that, if you believe that we're all God's children, then you're a damn fool to be running around with this racist craziness stuff. And so that's why I thought that when I saw Cliff, I love to listen to his stuff, and depending on how much profanity is in there will determine if I can get a clip to either Henry or Devin and say, okay, there's too much cleaning up in this one, so we'll leave that one alone. But if there's just, see, Henry's laughing because he's like, yeah, this is right. If there's one or two, all right, we can knock it out. But Cliff brings a point home, y'all. We got to, if we don't right now force these fools, and we have to force them to say, no, we're going to live together. If we don't do that, we will perish. Russia I'm drawing a blank on his name, but it'll come to me in a second. The Russian leader from the 60s, that was Khrushchev, Nikita Khrushchev. If we don't act right, y'all, I'm telling you that Khrushchev is going to be right. It's going to bear itself out. Okay, this stuff that's going on in Los Angeles is about racism. It is nothing other than that. It's a distraction. So stay focused. It's a distraction. And we got some clips to lean into that and talk about that. And I'm going to, before, as we get to this break, I have a couple quick things I want to read to you, one in particular. And it won't surprise you who the author of this is, but I'm going to read this one to you real quickly. When I see Trump, I see the same rednecks I saw when I was growing up who called me the N-word and tried to keep me in my place. That's what the Republican Party is to me. They're doing it to young people, to gay people, older folks. They don't care who you are. If you're not them, you're the enemy. And that comes from the brilliant author and phenomenal spokesperson, also known as Samuel L. Jackson, in an interview that he did with Rolling Stone. And so, that's really what it comes down to. Trump is a mirror image of his supporters, and we got to knock them upside the head, not literally, no violence. We got to let them know we're here. And that includes all of us. That includes my young brothers like Henry, and to the oldest of old Hispanic, African American, Muslim, Asian, and all the rest of us in this country. It includes all of us. We have to fight for it. But I'll be doggone if I'm going to allow somebody to take away that which so many of our folks have fought for. And you know, I have to sometimes close the computer so I don't look at some of the text, because we have folks that are trolls that send me text. They wait for me to come on, and then they just start sending stuff that's garbage. And I have to close the computer so that I don't get distracted. And we have people that they spend the majority of their time in criticism mode about what folks like myself and Joan and Patty and Stephanie and Tom and Rachel and you know, all the rest say in the, you know, progressive conversation. Just looking for a fight, just looking for a reason to trash talk, not looking for solutions. And so, you know, we welcome it. But at the end of the day, it's sort of like my father used to say, go get yourself some business. Go do something constructive rather than just constantly finding a way to criticize. Go do something constructive. Go get some business. And one of the questions that I want to ask is why, if this is not about this sort of let's purify the country of people that are brown from the brown skinned folks, then how come there aren't any raids going on or ISIS showing up in places where there's a high amount of European immigrants that are undocumented and here illegally or have done illegal things? I just want to know. Somebody answer me that question. Riddle me this, Batman. Please, somebody answer that question for me. I'd like to know that. That's a fair question. Why is it? Because there's community. Listen, I have the data in front of me. I do. I wasn't going to ask that question without having an answer about some of the numbers. So there's a large number of European immigrants in the United States that are undocumented, that are here illegally. Their visas have expired. They should be. But I don't see ICE rolling up in those communities. And let's be honest, Chicago being as diverse as it is with all our pockets of, I don't see ICE rolling into those communities, at least not making the news. I don't see them rolling into some of the Russian communities in New York or in Florida or in Los Angeles, for that matter. You know, why are we not seeing that? Frangela, the comedy duo, posted something yesterday that it was spot on. It's what Mayor Bass has been saying. This is in an isolated part of the city of Los Angeles, ironically with a certain percentage population of a certain community. But there are other communities that have got illegals, if you want to. And we're not supposed to use that word, so I'm going to stay in the undocumented because I don't want Roosevelt to get on me and beat me up again about that. But he's right. But I don't see the ICE rolling in there. So there's my opening point. We're going to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. That is the Credo mobile phone and text line. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
When it comes to banking, you need a bank you can trust. A bank with a rock-solid reputation and the highest integrity. A bank that gives you the attention and respect you deserve.
ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922, and we've made our name on deep expertise, best-in-class service, and a strong commitment to our customers. We know the Chicago business market inside and out and can help you craft the perfect banking solution, no matter what type of business you're in.
And if you're looking for a banking partner for your labor union, we can bring the type of expertise that only comes from a bank that was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders to this day.
Whether you need a deposit account, loan, trust services, or investment management, ABOC has you covered. Let's work together to manage your finances today while planning for a better tomorrow. ABOC, a bank built on a strong foundation.
Visit ABOC.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Choose View with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, Progressives, welcome back to the show, 773-763-9278. Give us a call, 6:30 to 7:30. We're going to be taking your calls today, so we want you to be heard. So some people have already said there's no undocumented Europeans. Yeah, right. Like I said, I did the research first before I said it. And the numbers are there. So, that's one of those things where people just have got to, stop lying to themselves. And it's not about, Democrats protecting illegal immigrants. That's always the case because we're talking about brown-skinned people. But I don't hear anybody saying that about people that are not. So y'all can, throw that down the toilet. So, all right. What did I want to say? I know. This is important about staying focused. Please stay focused because there's other things that are going on right now that are happening behind the curtain, if you will. And one of those things is Trump wants to revoke Biden's climate rule on power plants. That's a big deal because it wants to be able to free up or make it easier for existing coal burning plants. It requires that existing coal burning plants and future plants burning natural gas begin capturing their carbon dioxide pollution in the 2030s. That was what the EPA put forth with President Biden. Trump wants to get rid of that. So pay attention, guys. It's other stuff that's happening behind the curtain. And one of the things that I heard that I think is really spot on is that Donald and Elon are having their little fight, and this is yet another distraction. Kate, paying attention to what's going on behind the curtain, guys. I've been saying this for the longest time. Yes, we're going to focus on it. We're going to focus on these things that are happening, but in the same way that I'm saying that, I want you to stay focused on it. Please. Got a clip that we want you guys to hear from Governor Gavin Newsom.
He's a stone-cold liar. I respect the presidency. I've tried to have an open hand with him, tried to work with him. You can't work with Donald Trump. You can only work for him. And I will not. I refuse to work for Donald Trump.
And neither should we. Okay? And what that means is we work for the American people. We as citizens work for each other. We don't answer to the president. We don't answer to the mayor. If you're here in Chicago or you're here in whatever, you don't answer to the mayor of your city or the governor of your state. They answer to us. We set forth the requirements and the push of what they should be doing. And that's why these protests have meaning, because they know that the more that the protests increase in size, frequency, and location, the more that's American people saying enough is enough. So we don't work for them. And I appreciate how Governor Newsom stated that. He does not work for Donald Trump. Donald Trump works for the American people. That's what the job is, but he's not playing it that way. He doesn't like it if people don't work, if they don't give the impression that they're working for him. I got a nice couple of texts yesterday when I asked the question, did Donald Trump, do we think that Donald Trump was abused growing up, and what has led to this chaos and chaotic behavior and lifestyle and all the rest? And, a couple of people verified that that was noted in Mary Trump's book and talking about her family and all that. So, I haven't read her book, so I won't go down that path, but I trust the sources that sent it to me and stating it. Tomorrow, I won't be here, But Michelle Peltier will be here with my man Henry, and Karen Byrne will be calling in, so they're going to have some fun. I know it's going to be great, and Michelle's going to be full of giggles and laughter, and y'all need to giggle and laugh with her, and y'all need to give her a holler because she's going to be here sitting in for me. And I'm going to be taking some time to check out what's happening in the nation's capital, just to let you know, which will be fun. Going to hang out with my sister and my brother-in-law for Father's Day weekend, and I'm excited to see them. They're great people. They are the epitome of folks who've served in the military and gone on to serve folks in their post-military lives. So looking forward to that. Michelle will be here hanging out, making you laugh, making you giggle. Speaking of of D.C., I got to tell you guys this. I got this sent to me that I thought was really interesting. Did you know that there's an organization, Henry, that is putting out advertisements looking for seat fillers? Where would the seat fillers be? At a Beyonce concert? I don't think so. Where do y'all think that the seat fillers are being requested to sign up and get paid? Anybody? Bueller? Is it going to be at me and Henry's next concert that we have? No, it's going to be at the Trump parade, people. Listen, when I make Devin and Henry laugh, I know I must be saying something good. Henry, they're going to be, they're looking, there's an organization that is out there advertising on social media looking for people as seat fillers. Seat fillers. Wow. Now, I don't care for anybody that's going to say, yeah, but Biden had, I don't care about that. Oh, Lordy. Donald's going to have, there's an organization that's looking for seat fillers for the Trumpster. How about that? That's just crazy. That's just, I will say this. One other thing I want to share with you guys. If you are going to be out protesting, this is another thing that was sent to me, and someone just sent it to me a second time, and I had it on my own. We might be posting this on the WCPT site or at my show page, and it's called Protect the Peaceful Protest. It's the sit-down wave. What to do if violence breaks out at a protest. Number one, sit down together. Lower yourself on the ground immediately. Stay where you are. Number two, silence is power. Stop chanting, put down signs, and remain silent. Number three, spread the signal. Gesture or quietly tell others to sit. Let the action ripple through the crowd like a wave. Number four, do not engage. Don't argue, confront, or respond to aggression. Discipline speaks for itself. Number five, make peace visible. A calm, seated crowd is a powerful image to the world and the cameras to see. And if there's one if that's the one that I would pull out and say that's the one, number five, make peace visible. A calm, seated crowd is a powerful image for the world and the cameras to see. Nonviolence is powerful, strategic, and united. Hashtag sit down wave, peaceful protest, nonviolent power, and Gandhi. Those are the four hashtags. I'm sharing this with you guys. I got it yesterday. I got it. We're hopefully going to have it up on our site. The powers that be will make that happen. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I feel it's important that we protest. But we have to be mindful of the craziness that's on the other side of it right now. And they're looking for reasons to implement the powers of the federal government in states and local communities. They're looking for a reason. So let's be super mindful of that, guys. Be super, super mindful. Page 555 of, and I meant to share this with you guys earlier in the week, but I'll do it now. Page 555 of the Project 2025. Go look it up. It speaks to doing exactly what the Trump administration is doing or trying to do now in terms of the National Guard and the military on U.S. soil. Go look it up. You don't have to believe me. Page 555. Right in, I'm almost certain it's 555. You'll find it in there. This is part of the plan. So if you're going to be participating in various events now and forever in this administration, this time that we're in, but certainly this upcoming weekend, please be mindful of the sit-down wave. I believe we're going to have it on the site. I will check again today to find it, to make sure that it's there so you guys can find it. And if you want me to send it to you, then just email me and I'll email you what I have in this Word document so you've got it. But the sit-down wave is important. Sit down together. Silence is power. Spread the signal. Do not engage and make peace visible. I highly recommend that you guys kind of pull that into your way of being if you're going to be out and about and protesting in any shape, form, or fashion this weekend. All right, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we got some more good stuff for you guys to check out. Number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views on the Credo mobile phone and text line, and we'll be right back.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
Anyone can get a kidney stone, but men are affected more often than women. And overweight and obese people are more susceptible than people of normal weight. Most types of kidney stones won't go away on their own. Dr. Amy Krambeck, a urologist at Mayo Clinic, says treatment usually depends on their size and what they're made of.
And there's several treatments that we can perform. It really depends on the size of the stone and the location of the stone. Probably the most common treatment in the United States is shockwave lithotripsy. That's when a patient is placed on an operating table. Shockwaves are put through their body and focused onto the stone. The stone breaks up into pieces, and then the person has to pass that stone on their own.
If you have pain while urinating, see blood in your urine, or feel a sharp pain in your back or lower abdomen, see your doctor or urologist. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 64. Friday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy, high of 81 degrees. Then by Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high of 79. Sunday, cloudy, high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 70.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, Progressive, welcome back to the show. I'll add to my sit-down wave with Know Your Protest Rights, and thank you for sending that to me. Know your protest rights. If you don't need a permit to protest in the streets or on sidewalks if you're not obstructing traffic or access to buildings. That's the part that becomes the issue, though, is how they determine if you are, if you're obstructing traffic or access to a building. It can be one person that said they couldn't get into a building. You obstructed their access. So I'm always mindful of that, and being in the street. You have the right to photograph anything in plain view, including police. Careful with that, though, because now what they're saying is that they're suspect of cameras if they're actually cameras. So that's another one. Just be mindful of this. If stopped by police, ask if you're free to go. If yes, calmly walk away. If arrested, ask for a lawyer immediately. Don't sign or say anything or agree to anything without a lawyer present. All right, make some common sense items there. I still go back to why it's important to, if you are going to protest, why you have to be one that is that's going to stay calm. Most important thing to do is to stay calm. And there's a lot of different things that are posted about what to do and what not to do. I think the most important thing, whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, is to not show signs of aggression because they're looking for that. And if someone is in your face as a law enforcement person gets in your face, don't return the favor in terms of them yelling at you. Maintain your silence. That's why that's important. And be looking out for other people who might not be following some common sense rules. But I think, again, one of the most important things that you can do is to be peaceful and in your protesting. And most certainly do not engage. So I think a lot of this, my father would say, common sense. Use some common sense and make sure that you are keeping yourself safe in that space. All right. So there is a congresswoman who is Chicago-born but is out on the West Coast. And by the way, guys, the number is 773-763-9278. Give us a call. We said we'd keep the lines open for you today for any of your questions and your comments, your observations, until we get to our 7:30 guest, Michelle Duster. But there is a congresswoman born here in Chicago that made it clear yesterday during a press conference that she was not having it. And the phrase stepping to the mic was literally what she did. This is Congresswoman Sidney Comlager Dove and the few things that she had to say during a press conference yesterday.
Let's also be clear, then the border czar said that he wasn't going to do it because obviously if they did arrest Gavin Newsom, then it would change the narrative. And then it would be about the illegal arrest of a sitting governor who was elected by the majority of voters in the state of California, and not about a felon who was in the White House who is manufacturing chaos to distract from the fact that he is cutting hundreds of billions of dollars in needed programs that will kill people. This is about if it bleeds, it leads. That's right. So he has created and manufactured violence so that he can have a show on the television. But other people, older people, folks who are disabled, young people are going to be bleeding when Medicaid gets cut, when people are evicted from their homes.
I had a great conversation with our very own Woodstock City Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who's been on the show, was with us last Friday here in studio. And it's sort of like we both sent out the bat signal, Henry. I saw this clip and was compelled to have it as part of today's show. And Natalie, it must have been like at the same time, she sent it to me. And like 10 minutes later, I was like, "Oh my God!" So I rather than, it was one of those moments where you can't communicate effectively via text. So I was in the car. I just kind of pulled over and called her. But it was hilarious because Representative Dove just stepped to the mic and made it clear that this is the distraction. Michael Cohen. I don't know. Do we have that clip from him earlier this week? See if you can find that. Yeah, we've got another great clip. Michael Cohen talks about the theater of all this, the show, and that while this is a show for Donald, it is causing harm to Americans. And that's why we have to remain focused and on the fact that, as I said earlier, we have to stay focused, but we have to stay focused on the things that are, how do I want to maybe reposition this? What's going on behind the curtain that nobody's hearing or nobody's seeing, and things that are being passed that nobody's hearing and nobody's seeing. And that's why I think it's incredibly important to, at this time, with this bill moving as it's moving forward, and you guys may not know this, so let me pull this quick article. Sorry, guys. There we go. And I said this on, I believe it was on Monday, how Republicans in the House and Senate were about to have a little hissy fit fight because the senators, Republican senators, want to change the bill in ways that the House doesn't. And one of the members of the House actually threatened to try to ask for censure of folks in the other chamber in his own party if they didn't let the bill go through the way in which the Republicans in the House had put it together. So the Senate Republicans, they plan to make some changes to the bill because many of them recognize that the bill is insane and that this could impact. They don't give a darn about the American people. Their only reason is that they don't want this to be an impediment to their reelections. It's not because of the quality of what the changes are that they would want to make. They just don't want it to, because they don't want some of those changes or some of those things in the bill to go unchanged for the purposes of their reelection. That's the reason why. That's why I said earlier, there's 6 senators, Republican senators, that are very vulnerable in this upcoming cycle. So what have I been saying the last couple of weeks? Call your senators, progressives. Call your governors. Call your lieutenant governors. Call your attorneys general. And do it now. But make certain that you call the senators, Republican senators specifically. I don't think there's going to be any Democrat that's stupid enough to say they're going to vote for it. I'm hoping that Chuck Schumer has got his caucus, if you want to call it that, in place. But, fingers crossed that they're not going to lose their minds and vote for this thing. But call the senators, call the Republican senators, and let them know. The Capitol Switchboard, I've given that number before. Here you go again, 202-224-3121. Again, that number is 202-224-3121. It's Capitol Switchboard. Make the call, because the Senate Republicans, they do have some plans to make changes that could kill the big, beautiful bill. I'd love to see that happen. And it's not, again, it's not killing it. It's not killing it because it's for the betterment of the country. It's killing it because they want to see different and or deeper cuts in certain areas, particularly when it comes to SNAP. Feeding children, Medicaid. So call the Republican senators. I should be more specific rather than just saying call the senators. You can call them all. You can pick 2. You can do 2 a week. One person. Let's just think about that. You could call 3 a day. That's 15 in a week of the Republican senators. There you go. In a week, in a 5-day week. Why not? Why would you not do that? I know we don't make the vote, but we do push them to vote in the right way. So call the Republican senators and let them know if you can get through, or the Capitol Switchboard. If you can't get through the specific senator's office. So there you go. Just another reminder of something that we can do to stay engaged and stay involved in this process. And I think it's critically important that we do that we make sure that they know we are here. The protests are one way, the calls, the emails, the cards are another way. I have to do all the above. As you guys have heard, pretty much every guest that we've had on the show, certainly in the last few months, has talked about the importance of remaining engaged and showing up. Just the other day, when we had Reverend Wilson on, she spoke about the importance of people getting out, not staying in their silos, making sure that they're active and participating in this process. I think it's critically important that we remind each other of that every day, and that we find people to connect with so that we can do that. Our show is in part a tool for that for you guys. At the same time, we want to make sure that you are reminding people as well. And I heard something. I was in a meeting yesterday, and I was reminded to keep saying something, and that is, we are no longer in the position where we can let people get by with saying certain things. We do have to call it out in the moment. No, you're wrong. No, you're lying. That is BS. Because while we sit back and wait for the right moment to say the thing to the person that said something, family or business associate and everybody in between, while we sit back and let them say certain things, that's allowing their message to be louder than ours. And I say that it's time for us to be bold with our message. Everyday folk, not just talking about the elected officials, everyday folk. It's our responsibility, and the time is now that we speak what we have on our minds. I think that as progressives, we, in the interest of some sanity and some desire to have everybody get along, and like I said at the beginning of the show, for us to be working together, that we've sometimes probably pulled back from saying things that need to be said in the moment, and sometimes in a very hard way for trying not to offend people, trying not to tick somebody off. Those days are kind of gone. I believe that, and they may come back. Don't get me wrong. When I say gone, I don't mean dead, gone forever. I think that right now, maybe a better way of putting it, those days are not appropriate right now. You can protest with the person that you know face to face. You can say something to somebody right now as a form of protesting that you know, that's a coworker, that's a person that you know from socially. And I would say when it comes to that, when it comes to saying something to somebody socially, particularly so right now. If you're out with folks that you hang out with, you know, whatever the thing is that you do, and they say something that's filled with some garbage. I said it before, but I was reminded yesterday that now is the time. Shout out to Maggie. That we have to say these things right now. If it means pointing at someone and saying you are lying or that is BS or whatever it is that you're going to say, if it's not right or if you feel strongly against what they're saying in this space that we're in right now on any of these executive orders or any of these movements by the administration, then you should feel proud that you're plugged in enough, that you are woke enough to say that is BS. You should feel proud, not feel ashamed, not feel intimidated or hesitant to speak your truth right now. Richard's giving you the permission to speak your truth right now. I'm just playing, but you know what I mean? I mean, no. Because see, here's the thing. None of us want to look back in 6 months during this heightened craziness that's probably going to be this way for a while. We don't want to look back in 6 months and say, gosh, I didn't leave it all on the field. And that's kind of it's a daily way of having to be right now. We certainly don't want to look back because here's the other reason why, or part of another reason why. We have a number of people who are winning elections where they're not supposed to, quote, win these elections, Henry. I mean, how does a black dude win mayor of Omaha, Nebraska? We know it's a blue dot city, but man, come on, y'all. So we're winning and there's other places. It's the young cat in South Carolina just won. 24-year-old dude, I think he is, in Lindsey Graham's backyard. I mean, so, and then we've got folks down in Indiana that our man Kurt Mullet is really getting behind and pushing, and other people in other parts of the country, you know, that are winning these elections or getting in the fight. They'll tell you there's nothing special about them necessarily, but they recognize the importance of the moment. And so I believe that on a day-to-day basis in the lives that we live, we have to be willing to do that. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got another couple of clips that we're going to drop on you guys, and we got some calls we're going to answer. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we will be right back.
This is your WCPT Progressive Calendar. Monday, June 16th at noon, the City Club of Chicago welcomes outgoing Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez. The following Monday, June 23rd, the City Club welcomes Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates. Both events take place at Maggiano's Banquets, 111 West Grand Avenue in Chicago. Seating is limited. Get your tickets at cityclub-chicago.org. Tuesday, June 17th at 6:30 p.m., Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia of the 4th Congressional District will be having a town hall at Eberhart Elementary School, 3400 West 65th Place in Chicago. Garcia and other elected officials from the area will provide updates and discuss key issues, including the rising cost of living, Medicaid and Medicare, education investments, and support for working families and small businesses.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Choose View with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views. Let's grab a couple quick calls. Henry, let's go to Dave in Hoffman Estates. Good morning, Dave, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. Hey, just reading where former VA Secretary McDonough to host a town hall countering the D.C. parade. And former VA Secretary Dennis McDonough will host a military and veterans town hall in Minnesota on Friday evening as part of the DNC's counter-programming to the Washington military parade touted by Trump this weekend. The event, part of the party's People's Town Hall series, will be held in the Twin Cities and feature Representative Kelly Morrison, Democrat from Minnesota. And the event is designed to honor our military members and veterans and protect the care they so bravely earn.
Yeah. Well, that's that's exciting to hear, and I'm glad that that there are representatives, elected officials that are holding those types of town halls and other events to celebrate, but also to provide people with access to them and to talk with them.
Hey, Richard, question. When you go to your brother, sister, and brother-in-law's place, are they planning to fly the flag upside down?
I doubt it, but I don't know, and I'm certainly not going to tell them that that's what they should do. I will tell them that one of my callers asked a question, and then I'll let them look at me and tell me what is or is not going to happen.
Well, being military people, I would think they would understand that that's the sign that the country is in distress.
Well, Dave, I'm going to be respectful to you. I know my brother-in-law and sister understand that. They both served during Vietnam. They fully understand that as active duty folk, they have no misunderstandings about what their duties are currently as retired from the military. But I will ask them, I will tell them that a gentleman who is a caller on our show wants to know, did you guys know that? Are you guys aware of that?
Well, you might also mention, too, I, too, am a veteran, and I got 3 honorable discharges behind me. Normally, I don't get hyped up on some of this stuff, but this time, yeah. This has got me, and I'm going to put it upside down on Saturday.
Here's what I don't do, is I don't tell people what they should do when it comes to that, because I know that they already know. But as out of fun, I will ask them, because my brother-in-law and sister are good-natured people, but you won't see me telling them that that's what they should do, or any other person. I will ask them and have some fun with it. I'll probably poke the bear a little bit with them both, but
I didn't say good. I just asked, are they going to?
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm teasing and having some fun with you regarding it.
This ain't nothing to tease about.
Well, okay, fair enough. I'm teasing with you about it.
I'll leave you with a little funny, so we leave on those. I seen something where Trump had a big boo-boo with him, trying to make fun of President Biden, and he said that he wasn't the sharpest light bulb in the pack.
Oh, man. We've got our comedy going this morning. Between you and Cliff Cash, we can't lose. We can't lose.
All right.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you. Bye now. Yeah, I'll probably I'll poke the bear a little bit. Maybe not. I'll leave my brother and sister-in-law alone. All right, let's go. Let's grab a quick call from. Let's go to Al in Franklin Park. Good morning, Al. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard. Good morning. Boy, there's a lot going on, and we got to understand everything is going on as well. And I am finding that if you go to indivisible.org or mobilize.org, there's many Zoom meetings that are happening prior to the No Kings rally, talking about it and talking about how you should react at the No Kings rally as well. And I happened on to the Marshall training one of the Marshall training one last night, and I wasn't really a Marshal, but one of the points they make is that be prepared, as in be rested up. Don't don't go out drinking the night before or anything like this. Be prepared, be aware of what's going on, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about de-escalation, because that is so important right now. And I'm going to call in later and say more about it, because I'm going to ask some questions, because I know the Northwest Suburban Organized for Action, which is one of the indivisible groups, has a 9 o'clock meeting Monday through Friday where we talk about everything that's going on in politics, and we have lawyers on that, we have teachers on it, we have lots of good people from around the country.
Where is it? Say that again, Al. I just want to make sure people heard that portion.
It is. You can get through to it if you go to mobilize.org or indivisible.org, and it is the NWSOFA, Northwest Suburban Organized for Action.
Okay.
And I've done a lot with them, and I was doing Zoom training with them yesterday, and they've done AI training, and they have evening meetings talking about the environment, talking about the law cases going on. I mean, there's so much going on right now that we can be doing. Everybody can be doing, and we all have to be looking forward and not spend too much time worrying about what happened. And I guess we all know that here.
Yeah.
And then I can just go on. I made the mistake. Well, I do it all the time. Like I had on 560 AM, Don and Amy, and they're talking. They're all doubling down on TV, on radio, on internet about how good what Trump is doing the right thing, and how the Democrats are all wrong, and that they are fomenting violence.
Hey, do me a favor, Al. I'll tell you what. Do me a favor. Call them to their show and tell them to have someone from their show call into my show so we can have a conversation around it. They won't do that. They won't do that. And if I call into their show, that's fine. They'll gang up on me, and I can handle it. They can bring all they got. But that's what they won't do, and they are piebacks when it comes to that part of the conversation. But Al, thank you as always for your contribution, not only to my show, but to all the work that we're doing. Keep up the fight. Stay safe with whatever you're doing this weekend. But thanks for the call this morning, Al. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you, Richard. Have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye. So let me make something clear. I am, by me identifying the fact that the government is not going after readily, visibly, and I said unless they are going after other communities, the point I'm making about who the federal government is going after with regards to ICE is that if they're going to, first of all, don't target people this way in the first place. If you are, then target them in a way that's not target. Go after them in a way that's helpful. So we know that there are other communities that are not being targeted. They may have concerns, and they should, because our federal government is crazy right now. But here's the thing. President Obama deported a large number of people, but he didn't do it in a way, and it's evidenced. He didn't do it in a way where we're raiding and snatching babies out of mothers' arms. And we didn't have any of these. When somebody tell me, irrespective of the community that may have been, folks of the community were deported, whether they be from Europe or from Mexico or from Guatemala or from any place, this wasn't happening. This chaos, this targeting wasn't happening. So I get it when someone says, Richard, there are people that I know that are from other places other than the southern border that are concerned right now. I understand that. I never said, and I never would say, they should be targeted. I'm asking, why is the government not targeting, or why is it only targeting? Let me be clear, only targeting certain groups of people. I don't want the government to target any group of people, but I'm asking, why is it that they're not targeting, that they're targeting certain groups of people? That's the question. I don't think anybody should be shaking in their boots worrying about it. I think our country should do a better job when it comes to immigration. Get the Republicans the hell out of the way so that the Democrats can fix it, because the Republicans ain't fixing it. Newsflash for all the people out there that say, the Republicans got it right. No, they do not. Bipartisanship has allowed us to get to a better place. And Donald Trump messed that up late summer and fall. You all know it. It's a fact. Republicans have said it. Senator Langsford said it. We had a bipartisan bill that would have massively moved the needle with money, with resources, with people and all. And they mucked it up. The Republicans did. I'm not interested in targeting anybody or having anybody, period, of any community be nervous and worried. So y'all don't get that wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm asking, why is a particular community of people being targeted? Listen to the words. Don't let the emotions confuse what's being said. We should all do a better job of making sure that the people who are here trying to make a better way for their lives can do it in a way without this craziness. And President Obama did deport a lot of people, but he didn't do it in this manner. That's factual. Challenge me if you will. I want you to bring it on so we can talk about it. That's why we have calls today. We're going to take a quick break, guys, and get some more calls we got to grab on the backside of the break. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-775-5622. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-775-5622. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-775-5622. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. A federal court hearing set for Thursday will consider whether the Trump administration can use the National Guard and Marines to assist with immigration raids in Los Angeles. Dozens of mayors in the LA area are urging the administration to stop the raids. Demonstrations are spreading nationwide, with more expected over the weekend. Britain says a crisis team has been set up in India and the UK after an Air India passenger plane with more than 240 people crashed in India's northwestern city of Ahmedabad. The Portuguese government said it's also received a list of passengers on board. An official says flight AI-171 crashed into a residential area 5 minutes after takeoff. The flight was bound for London's Gatwick Airport. AP correspondent Karen Shamas reports on floods in South Africa's Eastern Cape.
Rescuers in South Africa are still searching for missing people after floods have left dozens dead. Rescue teams have begun a third day searching for missing people after floods devastated part of South Africa's rural Eastern Cape province and left at least 49 people dead. Authorities said they expected the death toll to rise. The missing included 4 high school students who were swept away when their bus was caught up in the floods near a river on Tuesday. 6 students on the bus were confirmed dead, while 3 were rescued after clinging onto trees and calling out for help, according to the provincial government. The floods hit the province early Tuesday after an extreme cold front brought heavy rain, strong winds and snow to parts of eastern and southern South Africa. Forecasters had warned about the damaging weather last week. I'm Karen Chamas.
In other news, Silento, the Atlanta rapper known for his hit song Watch Me Whip, Nene, pleaded guilty but mentally ill Wednesday to voluntary manslaughter and other charges in the 2021 shooting death of his 34-year-old cousin. The 27-year-old rapper, whose legal name is Ricky Lamar Hawk, was sentenced to 30 years in prison. This is AP News. Former movie mogul Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of one of the top charges in his sex crimes retrial. He was acquitted on another charge. The jury could not reach a verdict on a third charge. An attorney says female athletes are being deprived of $1.1 billion in a high-profile NCAA settlement.
8 female athletes have filed an appeal of a landmark NCAA antitrust settlement. They argue that women would not receive their fair share of $2.7 billion in back pay for athletes who were barred from making money off their name, image, and likeness. U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilkin approved the settlement last week. The athletes who appealed the settlement Wednesday competed in soccer, volleyball, and track. An attorney representing the women says the settlement violates Title IX, the federal law that bans sex-based discrimination in education. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News. Have a good morning.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 64. Friday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy, high of 81 degrees. Then by Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy, high of 79. Sunday, cloudy, high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 70. Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Chew's Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820 AM, where facts matter. Take it away, Richard.
Hey, progressives, welcome back to the show. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito. She's back, and her guests are Eric Zorn, author of the Picayune Sentinel, Joe Brancatelli of the JoeSentMe.com business travel newsletter, and Heartland Signals' Rich Eberwine, with 3 stories you might have missed from our digital newsroom. Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk for 20 years. Driving it home with Patty Vasquez tonight. She'll be joined by Charlie Lasconis, chair of the Winnebago County Democratic Party, Andy Diamond, and Joe Janes, organizers of the Free America Festival, obviously, which is happening this Saturday, June 14th, from noon to 3 p.m. at Chicago's Raven Theater. And Ford Miller, reference librarian and assistant law professor at Loyola University, New Orleans. Driving it home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Central WCPT, Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and, of course, Facebook. Tomorrow, of course, Michelle Peltier will be in for me and be joined by Karen Byrne from True Blue Politics podcast. Make sure that you are checking out and visiting the CredoMobile.com website. Credo Mobile phone and text line, of course, is our number 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile is a progressive phone company, and yes, it is better for all people and the planet. All right, couple of quick Choose Views news items that we will get to you now, and then we'll come back to some of our calls and clips. Here on June 12, 2025, the World Bank slashes its growth forecast. The World Bank sharply lowering its growth forecast urged Americans' trading partners to lower their tariffs on U.S. goods so the normal trade volumes can resume. Trade war initiated by America over the higher tariffs has faced elsewhere is depressing outlooks everywhere, it said. The tensions are laying the groundwork for the weakest decade of global growth since the 1960s. There you go, Donald Trump. That's what you're causing. There's no getting around it. All right, J.P. Morgan, the RTO mandate is hurting morale. J.P. Morgan Chase employees believe their work-life balance and health and well-being declined following the bank's decision to return to office full-time in March, according to Barron's. Based on an internal survey released this week of 90% of the workforce, the aforementioned areas scored lowest alongside opportunities for internal mobility. Quote, "We know return to full-time in the office has been an adjustment and one that not everyone agrees with, but we continue to believe in person is how we do our best work." And that comes from CEO Jamie Dimon. All right. And last but not least, entry-level workers are a little worried, a little concerned. Confidence hit a low in May, according to new research, as economic uncertainty drove employee sentiment down across all levels of seniority. Just 43.4% of employees in entry-level jobs said that they were feeling positive about the business prospects of their employers. So there you go, guys. A couple of quick items from Choose Views News. Let's keep it moving, Henry. Let's grab a couple quick calls, and then I got a couple quick clips I want to play for you guys. Let's go to Nancy. Nancy, good morning and welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard. Thank you for being a beacon in the dark period of our history.
Well, you're kind for saying that, my love. Thank you. What's going on this morning?
Well, you know what? I'm thinking about my Saturday protest and picking up my friends, and I'm a little concerned, but I so appreciate you giving us the steps to take if confronted by law enforcement during, on Saturday, and in fact, during future rallies as well. I also like to remind people that Dr. Martin Luther King's nonviolence stance was a strategy, and I think we can all still learn from Senator John Lewis and many others who walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965. They didn't fight back. They didn't fight back as they wanted the world to see how the police violent response, just because they wanted blacks to vote in the South. And finally, I just remember Kamala Harris saying, "We're not going back." Well, unfortunately, I'm afraid we're going way back.
Yeah.
So thank you for everything.
Nancy, thank you for your call and thank you for your courage to be out with the fight. I know you've been in the fight for a long time, and you probably were at a point in your life where you were hoping that you wouldn't have to fight with both hands. You may have to fight with one, but you got to fight with both right now. So I appreciate, your courage and getting out there, and thank you for supporting the work that we're doing here at WCPT as well. So stay safe this weekend, okay?
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Henry, let's see where we're going. Let's go to Jim here in Chicago. Good morning, Jim, and welcome to the show. What's going on?
Good morning, Rich. All I can say is this walnut cabinet, this cabinet of this criminally insane person.
You call it a walnut cabinet, Jim?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. But he is a criminally insane individual. But these people are a lot younger, Richard. And you think they'd have some... they might think, well, when I hit the graveyard, I want to do something good for the country. But apparently, they're as crazy as he is. I saw Huckabee on yesterday. He goes, "We don't need no Palestinians. Let them swim for it.
Yeah.
Let them swim for it. Israel wants the whole territory. They want it all. That's in the Bible.
Yeah.
That's in the Bible. These people are insane.
How can that?
They're totally insane.
What's,
and anyway, but
sorry,
Jim.
I'm sorry.
That's right. Then you look at the Hegseth. He can't put two sentences together. He's talking about putting cats up, marbles up cats' rectums. Yeah. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. It costs $500 billion to do that. I mean, he has no idea what he's on Fox News so long that he's smoked the opium there so long that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, but that's the sin is Trump's criminally insane. He's an old man. He's almost 80 years old, right? He ain't got long for this world. But these people are United States citizens. They're supposed to be considering the future of the United States, and they have no inkling of it.
Yeah,
it's amazing because they're the most dangerous critters on the planet. I mean, you can go chapter and verse and do is follow them.
Yeah, that's true.
But you think somebody would pragmatically have some sense for Americans?
Well, they
I
don't.
mean it.
Well, they don't, Jim. And a lot of the people that are caught up in this, they're fearful because they've got to bow to Donald, or else they're going to deal with the retribution. They don't have the guts to stand up to him. But they're also complicit because of the fact that some of this is what they actually believe, and they've been waiting for someone to say it for them. And that's the other part. That's what.
Yeah, but Rich, where did they get these? Where do these ideas come from? The internet? Like you got the cats and dogs story? You don't go to the library and get that story. Where do they get this story?
Yeah,
seriously,
I know.
It's got to be an internet story. It has to be an internet story. It's a made-up story because there's no book on the planet Earth that describes this.
Yeah, I know, Jim. I know you do.
Okay. Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Rich. Take care.
All right, Jim. Have a good day. Thanks for the call. See, the last time I checked, when I've talked to Jim in the past, I think he's over the age of 70, in his mid-70s. I could be wrong. We got to stop riling up our folks that are even older than I am. Jim's like, man, I just want to enjoy my later years and not have to go through this drama, right, Henry? Jim is riled up this morning. He is fired up. He is PO'd. And thank God for people like him and Nancy who are willing to say, I am just tired of these fools. Let's can we grab Evie real quick, Henry? Okay, hold on, y'all. Henry's good morning, Evie. Welcome to the show. Henry's navigating calls and got all four of his arms working this morning. Welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you.
We can't.
I'd like to say that this world in Tampa should be stopped. We should have peace, freedom, and love. Both that is special in the world.
We can't. I hate when we have an echo like that. It's hard to get a call in like that. All right. Okay. Henry's got to navigate these phone calls. So can we go to Alvin? Yeah. Hey, Alvin. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Can't hear you, Alvin. You're gonna have to call back. We can't hear you. Call back. All right, Evie and Alan. All right, we're going to drop Evie. We're going to wait for Alvin to call back. And there we go. So drop that one. There you go. Alvin, call back. We're going to drop Alvin. Alvin, call back if you're listening because we couldn't hear you. There was too much echo, and I don't want to do that to the other folks' ears. Okay, Henry, let's go to what I think is a really good clip of and an indication of where we are and in this conversation around protesting. There's a couple in Michigan, Chris and Dave, and they're both of them are former military folk. And here's what she had to say, Chris had to say about Donald Trump and protesting.
President Trump likes to paint protesters as some kind of villains, like people who hate and despise our country and democracy. I'm one of those protesters. I served our country for many, many years, both on and off active duty. I don't hate our country. I love it. That's why I'm protesting. I think if anyone hates our country, it's probably going to be that draft-dodging piece of shit in the White House. See y'all on June 14th at the No Kings rally. I'll be there protesting peacefully. I hope you'll join me.
Yeah, Chris and Dave, they are quite the couple. Retired military, but they are oftentimes speaking their truth about what they've experienced and how they see where we are in this country. So I saw that clip and I thought, yeah, you guys deserve to hear what she has to say. And boy, I tell you, she has got one. They both do have. They have got some great things that they put on social media and. I've been doing my best to try to get them on our show because they're funny, but they always present thoughts that make sense to us all. We're going to take a quick break because we have to. Henry's busy running the board this morning. 773-763-9278. When we come back, we'll hit you with a couple of quick calls and clips. We'll be right back.
Well, June is Pride Month, and all of us who believe in freedom and equality are speaking out for LGBTQ plus rights. But did you know there's a way to raise your voice for equality every month? In fact, every day. It's your phone if you use Credo Mobile. Credo Mobile has donated over $15 million to nonprofits working for equal rights, groups like National LGBTQ Task Force, Transgender Law Center, and the ACLU. And they'll continue to do so because they don't abandon their values when the political wind shifts. They stand for LGBTQ plus people during Pride Month and every month. If you're ready to switch, it's so easy to do. Here's how you make a difference. Go to credomobile.com. WCPT listeners can get 25% off your service for 2 years if you use the code WCPT25. Learn more at credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. The best way to give back is to go to credomobile.com. That's credomobile.com. Don't forget, type in your code WCPT25.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Good morning. You're waking up with Richard Chew.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're live and ready to hear from you. Text or call us now at 773-763-9278. Same number. Simple as that. Let's get the conversation going on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. First, I want to give a shout out to Alvin. We couldn't get his call clear enough to have him on. But he wanted to just say, everybody stay in the fight, stay safe, and you do the same. Alvin's down in Mississippi. So wherever you are, all are doing, Jill and Evanston, all the rest of you folks, stay safe and do your thing. But please, please, please stay safe. Follow Nancy's book of directives earlier and the things that we read to you as well. Let's go to Donna in Rogers Park. Good morning, Donna. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard.
How you doing?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. We got you perfectly, Donna. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. I'm going to tell you something. Everybody's been saying how nuts Donald Trump is. He's really losing it. I mean, he's what is he going to be, 79?
Is it 79 or 80 on Saturday? I don't remember. I should know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But this man, get rid of waste and fraud. He's running the debt up so high. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get it back. He's taking money that we don't have for a stupid parade.
Yeah. On his 79th birthday
in Washington D.C.
Yep.
Those streets are not designed for tanks.
No.
And all that other stuff that's going on. He flipped out when he went to Paris, and they had that parade there in Paris with all the different equipment and everything. And I think he's been living for this moment. But I was so glad he got booed at the Kennedy Center.
I know.
He and his wife went to see some performance, and they booed him big time.
As they should have.
That still wasn't enough.
Nope.
I don't know what it's going to take, but I know one thing. People are waking up. A lot of the people that were asleep where they said the campaign against wokeness, well, the delirium's wearing off now, and people are starting to wake up, and they can't wake up fast enough as far as I'm concerned. We're going to have to do something fast, because when this man gets through with this, we won't have democracy probably for the next 100 years. I don't know.
Well, that's why I keep
saying. I just don't know, Richard. What do you say?
That's why I keep saying that. Listen, Donna, I don't want to sound like I'm being childish or foolish or not paying attention. But we do have to keep fighting. What are we going to do? I think a lot of it is what we are doing, which is the fight that we are putting on in different places. There's 1,800 protests this weekend. That's saying something. I know that it's not the power of the government in a protest, but I'll put it to you this way. I would rather see us out protesting and doing what we can or believe we can do right now than folks staying at home. Reverend Wilson said it best the other day. She said nobody is allowed to stay at home and not be out and be active right now. And she and Reverend Jackson been in this fight for a long time, as have you, as have I. And so I know it's tiring. Like I said to Nancy earlier, at this point in her life, she understands how to fight, but she was looking forward to not have to fighting with both hands and both feet. But
did you see Maxine Waters out there in LA? She was out there like she was in the 90s. There she was.
I'm telling you, she had some. See, this is where I have to be. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to let you go. When people talk about we need to get rid of the old politicians that have been career politicians and they're too old, and Maxine Waters has more fight in her than some of the people that are half her age. So I'm not the one that's going to say, get rid of the old politicians chronologically. Maxine Waters is still fighting, y'all. And the woman she's 81 years old, I think, something like that. So it's not the age. Go ahead.
Check this out before I hang up. You know what? I see, what's that girl from Texas?
Jasmine Crockett?
That's the next Maxine Waters.
Sure it is.
Jasmine Crockett.
Sure it is.
Exactly.
Maxine Waters is 86 years old.
About her.
She's 86 years old, and did you see how she grabbed that door at the one facility? Like, she grabbed that door with all of her 86 years of age. Like, nah, I'm trying to come in here. So yes, that fight is still there.
And I'm not against all the old timers. I'm against the ones that are just keeping the seat warm.
Yeah.
But fighters like her, get on out there, girl. And I got your back, too.
Absolutely. We got yours as well, Donna.
Weekend, yeah.
You too. Be safe, okay? I will. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you. You too.
Appreciate
Bye-bye
you.
now.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, we telling old folks they can't fight. That's a stupid idea. Tell an older person that's been in the fight they can't fight. You might get knocked out. No, nobody take that the wrong way. Okay. All right. So in a few minutes, we're going to have on another fighter, Michelle Dustin. Michelle Dustin is throwing all kinds of punches right now, and in her articles as well as in her commentary. So I'm looking forward to having her on in a little bit. But for now, we got to bring you one of our elected officials. We got two of them. We're going to try to get to these back to back before we get to the break. Henry, let's go to Mayor Wu of Boston.
My advice to Tom Homan and ICE is to take a timeout, reassess what you are doing and how you are doing it. A little friendly advice from the safest major city in the country. We know how to keep people safe. The American people are not stupid. No one is buying the line that these secret police tactics are making communities safer. The coordinated attacks that we are seeing on our constitutional freedoms, on due process, on research, science, education, and institutions around the country, but especially based here in Boston, are designed to destroy our sense of trust and connection. We are taking every possible action here in our city to push back and to stand up for basic rights, for our freedoms, and for the opportunities that we have been building here as a city whose mission every day is to be a home for everyone. We're leading a coalition of cities from all around the country in a brief challenging billions in illegal cuts to federal funding that would end life-saving medical research on everything from cancer and diabetes to Alzheimer's. And we've been pushing back on the important federal grant dollars that have been threatened to be rescinded or terminated. The City of Boston will regularly submit Federal Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, requests to the Department of Homeland Security regarding federal immigration enforcement activity to find out who they are detaining and arresting and on what grounds. Boston is the safest major city in the country because we are a city that's safe for everyone. That safety and hard-earned trust is being jeopardized by the Trump administration's actions. And in Boston, we will stand strong for our community members and our residents. The least that can be done is to make sure that we are receiving information after arrests of who has been taken and why and where.
Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston standing in the void, standing in the lead. She and Mayor Brandon Johnson here in Chicago were two of the cities, two of the leaders from these two cities that went to D.C., if you guys remember, a few weeks back and testified in front of Congress. And they were not to be pushed around. And Mayor Johnson proudly said that he went there along with other mayors of major cities to say, no, we know what we're doing. We know how to navigate our cities. And she said the same thing in her own words. And she's put behind that here's what we're going to request and all but demand that the federal government does. So from one end of the country to the other, we, in terms of our elected officials standing up and speaking out, we have another clip I want to get in before we go to the break, and that's of California Representative Jimmy Panetta.
Let me simplify it. This is about retribution, it's about provocation, and it's about distraction. It's about retribution because Donald Trump does not like California. He doesn't like our policies. He does not like our politics. But you know what? That's okay. Because clearly, based on the election, California does not like the personality, the narcissistic personality of Donald Trump, and we clearly do not like his policies. This is about provocation. It was Donald Trump who sent in the military to a peaceful protest. It was about Donald Trump who sent in the military to basically stir things up and give him the image and give him the fight and give him the pictures that he wants. And this is about covering up. This is about distraction. It's about distracting from his failed domestic policies. It's about distracting from his failed foreign policies. And it's about distracting from a pathetic row between the President of the United States and the richest man in the world. When it comes to Californians, we will continue to protest, and we will continue to do it in a peaceful way. And those who don't are going to pay the consequences. Because when it comes to Californians, we support immigrants. And yes, we support the Constitution. So we will stand with the protesters who do it in a peaceful way and continue to push back on this administration. And we will stand shoulder to shoulder, as you see up here today, because we are willing to go toe-to-toe with the President of the United States. Thank you.
My man, Representative Jimmy Panetta. By the way, he is the son of Leon Panetta. So he comes from a fabric of folks that are fighters and not afraid to speak their mind. So he's someone to keep your eye on as well in terms of future leadership, not only in the state of California but on a national level, because he's a fighter, and I was happy to be able to have that clip for you guys. And I appreciate the fact that we've got people who I know that there's a lot of folks out there that want to say, "What are the Dems doing? They're not doing anything." Listen. We don't have the numbers on a federal level right now, but that doesn't mean, as I've said so many times, that our current elected officials can't fight, can't speak out, can't step to the mic, can't do what Representative Dove has done, what Representative Panetta has done, what Mayor Wu has done. That's their responsibility. We know that, and our opportunity is to continue to push them. And if if it's tiring to you, believe me, I respect that. I truly do. Maybe you can create your own grid. Just, put it on your calendar once a week. I'm going to call the switchboard, or I'm going to call a particular congressperson to keep them supported and keep them motivated and keep them shouldering strong, like Representative Panetta just said. But we have to push back and we have to fight. When we come back from the break, we're going to be talking with our good friend and fighter Michelle Duster, author and historian. We'll be right back, 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners. And we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-996-0496. My website is moreylawoffice.com. That's More spelled M-O-R-E-E. Again, the phone is 847-996-0496. There is no cost or obligation for our initial discussion. I look forward to speaking with you.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Partial sunshine develops here for today. We'll see high into the mid-80s. Winds out of the southeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 64. Friday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy high of 81 degrees. Then by Saturday, a chance for rain showers, cloudy high of 79. Sunday, cloudy high of 78. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 72.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey, progressives, welcome back to the show. Listen, more of us need to read more, however you read, whether it's in a book, whether it's on your Kindle or device or whatever it is. And you need to read articles out of Rebellious Magazine for Women, because we are blessed to have one of the most prolific writers and storytellers and authors in the country right now, and that's none other than Michelle Duster. Good morning, Michelle, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. As much as we can in this time.
Listen, guys, Michelle sent me an email yesterday when we were kind of wrapping everything up for today's show. We're going to be talking about one of her recent articles. She sent me an email that said, I don't even know where to start, Richard. I don't know where to start. We got so much going on, so much to talk about. And I didn't even respond back because I was like, yeah, because, we'll have 15 minutes to chat this morning, but, we've got so much more that can be fit into 15 minutes. But I'm so glad to have you with us as always. I've said this to folks before, and I said it again this morning. You guys need to follow Michelle Duster. She is taking the position that writing about and talking about and speaking about the things that have happened in our country as it relates to the contributions of women, specifically African-American women, is American history. And as you all know, is a great-granddaughter of Ida B. Wells. She's a history-making family, and Michelle has carried that torch extraordinarily well. And recently, as an article in Rebellious Magazine for Women entitled "The Disunited States of America Has a Long History of Black Erasure," and in a broader sense, some of this deportation stuff that's going on with ICE is about erasing culture and people of brown-skinned culture in the United States of America. But your article more specifically focuses on some of the conversations around holidays, around Memorial Day, around Juneteenth, and, how 77 million Americans or people in the United States of America voted for a regime that has inflicted this chaos that we're dealing with right now. So, Michelle, take it away. Tell us a little bit more about your article and some of your broader thinking right now with what's going on, not only in Los Angeles, but in other cities.
Oh, well, I started thinking about this whole concept of the origins of holiday when it came to Memorial Day, because I didn't know until more recently that Memorial Day was initiated by African Americans right after the Civil War ended. People in Charleston, South Carolina, decided to honor Union soldiers who had died in a Confederate prison camp. And so they decided to give them all of them proper burials and decorate the grave sites, and eventually had like a parade and other kind of honors. And so it's evolved from there to include all of the subsequent wars, people who passed away during those wars, and and just to take a moment to recognize those who died while serving their country. And, now it's just the usual mattress day sale. And I always wonder, how many mattresses do Americans buy? Like, is there never ending like mattresses? I mean,
and what the hell are people doing where they got to buy a new mattress every Memorial Day? That's
every holiday.
Every holiday. That's none of our business, but
I mean, it just makes me laugh. And I'm like, it would be nice for this country to actually talk about the origins of the different holidays. And so it's not just a party every time, but it's like a time to reflect on what the actual history is. And the fact that Memorial Day and Juneteenth, were started by African Americans. And it's just kind of interesting how it's within, almost a 2.5-3 week period of time. And I fear that what will happen with Juneteenth is the same thing that's happened to Memorial Day, where the history will be, sort of watered down, whitewashed, neutered, and just become this sort of bland, overall, I predict that it will become sort of Freedom Day in a generic sense, and people won't know, that it had anything to do with the Civil War, anything to do with the concept of slavery, and so I just think it's a really big disservice to everybody to not have a perspective of what the holidays really mean.
And you hear, and so folks, you heard Michelle say a disservice to everybody. She didn't say to black folks only. She said to everybody, because all of our history is all of our history. And, with this sort of neutralizing the impact of folks, black folks specifically, and the impact on Memorial Day and on Juneteenth, it does take away from the history actually learning and benefiting from the bad parts of our history. And that's where I think a lot of, this sort of whitewashing is right now, is folks don't want to hear about the bad. They don't, the line that I remember from a year or so ago from out of Florida that DeSantis was perpetrating was that, children, why do children have to come home from school and ask their mothers and fathers about slavery and how bad slavery was, and making their parents feel guilty. And we've got people now who are folks that have migrated to the United States in the last half century that say, well, it wasn't my parents didn't do that, or my parents weren't part of that. Why should I have to be one to deal with the conversations and the history lessons that come with that? I wasn't. But as I've said so many times, Michelle, and I'll keep saying it, if it were not for that, then your ability to be in this country may not exist. So let's talk about the history. Let's embrace it and then use it as a tool to make us stronger and go forward. But a lot of people just can't seemingly get there.
Well, yes. And I mean, I've only lived in the United States, so I don't have personal experience living in other countries and how they deal with their history. But I have heard many times, that Germany in particular, and I'm sure some other countries, don't approach history the same way that this country does. They are actually able to be honest about their history and recognize that, terrible things did happen, but you learn from mistakes, just like on a personal level, on an individual level. You can make mistakes, but then you recognize it, you apologize, and you move on. But just acting like something never happened doesn't solve the problem.
No, it never has, and it never will. I mean, it's some might say it's psychology 101. Before you fix the problem, you got to acknowledge that it exists, and then from there you build strength in going through that conversation and that exercise of dealing with it, that it happened, and then say, okay, we don't want it to happen again. Now that's where I go sometimes, and I'll ask you this question. There are some people who say that, we want to go back to that and go back through that. And these examples right now with these ICE raids are a way of trying to show that the administration, at least, and those who are following the administration want to, in fact, go back to that because they do want to relive history.
it's a fake history. I mean, when people try to say, well, they want to make America great again, and they, with this idea, I mean, it's code language for making it white again. But this country has never been a white country. I mean, people want to act like there were no indigenous people here. They were in the majority when the Europeans discovered this country, and then after millions of Africans were imported by force, to come to this country. In many places in the South, people of European descent were in the extreme minority. So then for them to say, well, for them to not say out loud they want an all-white country, it's like it never has been. So they are pining for something that never existed.
Yeah, because it's really more about the quote-unquote power structure than the actual numbers of people. And you highlighted that in your article when you talk about over 96% of corporate CEOs and over 90% of Republicans in this current Congress are white people, and that white men or women. And just the outrage over having the statue that was placed in Times Square was because it seemingly interfered with, a statue of a black woman causes as you said in your article, a hissy fit. Talk about that, Michelle. I read that and I snorted. I laughed so hard on that one. But talk about this part of the article. I want you to take the baton on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, over 90% of public artwork in this country, when it comes to statues and memorials and monuments, are of white men. And the other 5% are about 5% are women. And then if you break that down by race, I don't even know what the minuscule percentage is of black women. So for people to have, a hissy fit about one statue of a black woman who is a composite. She doesn't represent a particular person, and say, oh, how does she get in this space? And it's like, but you don't notice the other 90% of the statues that are of white men? I mean, how can you say that, try to act like white men are being replaced or things like that when we're talking one statue? And over 1,700 tributes to Confederate leaders are in this country. Nobody notices those things because I guess it's the norm, right? So then if you have one statue that is different than the dominant culture, then all of a sudden, there's this panic and acting like we're taking over or something like that, or they're being erased or they're being replaced or things like that. So I just really find the times that we're living in with this, sort of, I guess, complaint or concern that white men there's reverse discrimination and there's favoritism for people who are, have always been marginalized. And then if we get one opportunity, or if we go above, 5% of the representation, then life is unfair for the people who've always been in control. And we always hear this, like, I guess the working class white man has been disenfranchised and all of that. And so now there's this focus on, like, how do we make, people feel like they're part of this country and opportunities and everything. And I'm like, well, what about the 95% of people who are not white who have always been disenfranchised? So
the question,
this focused on, white grievance when people of color have a lot of reasons to have grievance.
We have constant PTSD when it comes to that, to be honest with folks who don't understand that. We live in a constant state of PTSD. And because of the harm and the ongoing rebuffing and so forth. And that's what makes us so doggone strong. Now, I want to come back to something you just said because I don't want to skip past this. And by the way, folks, we're talking with Michelle Duster, author, historian, public historian, educator. and champion for racial and gender equity. Michelle, one of the things that, to your point about this sort of middle-class white male disenfranchisement, or being taken, that they're no longer, being considered and loved and cared for and respected and hired and promoted. Well, here's the part this is what a lot of white Americans don't do when it comes to this conversation. And this is reality, and for some people, it's probably going to pinch you on the backside. If, in fact, that is happening to the middle-class white man in America, who's running the companies or the organizations that's doing it? The majority of those people that are in those positions of power are not people of color by sheer numbers. So if the people who are complaining that they're being disenfranchised, if that's actually happening, it's not being handed down or meted out by the people of color. It's being put there by the folks who look like those who are complaining about it. Like in the late 70s and the early 80s, when so many jobs were being canceled and, as the phrase goes, shipped overseas throughout the 80s, we didn't have a black president then. We didn't have black CEOs that were running the companies, and certainly not many women of any community that were running those companies. So the same guys, those middle-class white Americans who are complaining now about them being disenfranchised, that didn't happen because of black folks or Hispanic folks or Jewish folk or Muslim folks or Chinese folks or Japanese folks. Look at the data. Am I wrong, Michelle?
No, and also, people want to complain about, immigrants taking over our country or whatever, and at the same time that they are unemployed. And I'm like, I want to see evidence of when you actually apply for the jobs that you're complaining that somebody else is taking over. So all of these jobs that some migrants, immigrants, if some people want to, some of them might be undocumented, some of them might have come in, without proper channels, and they're working. And so if you're complaining that other people are taking your jobs that you didn't apply for, I don't get that complaint. And so all of these people who are screaming that migrants are taking their jobs, I go and apply for the job and you go do it. Mm-hmm. But I don't see people going from, so there are certain regions of this country that have had the industries that people, were employed in no longer are there, right? So they're very stressed when it comes to ways of finding employment. And then there are other regions of the country that are screaming for people to work there. Yep. Migrants are taking some of those positions. So if you're so concerned about migrants taking your jobs, then these people are coming from another country to work. And so you should be able to move from one state to another in order to work.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I was like, I know she's going to say it. And that we understand that moving can be, hell, disrupting a family to have to move to another part of the country because industry has moved from the community that you've been in. I think anybody with a little bit of common sense understands that. But don't complain about the people who come from another country that have tried to get here to find a better way. I said at the beginning of the show, this is about us working together to help everybody find a better way. But don't turn the ire of anger on the people who were doing the work to get those positions if you aren't yourself saying, okay, I'm going to put that fight down and go get the opportunity or do the thing to retrain myself to be better for those opportunities. And then getting behind a president, 77 million people, behind a president who wants to do nothing to help you, actually. Because if he actually did, then he wouldn't be spending $134 million in Los Angeles and another $45 million in D.C. for a parade and for raids on people who don't need that kind of hell coming down on them. What are your thoughts about as we wrap up, Michelle? I know I'm shifting gears a little bit, but what's your thought? What is your thought and feeling about what's happening in Los Angeles right now?
Well, I mean, I've been trying to figure out what's going on because, we're hearing sort of conflicting stories, but based on who I choose to believe. And I have family who lives in LA, so I'm kind of like, what's going on there?
Right.
And so what I understand is the protests. Okay, so that ICE are going into places where people are actually doing law-abiding activities like working and going to school and going to the grocery store and doing things. And so the ICE is invading these places like school graduations and, going to Home Depot where people who are looking for work. And so I'm like, okay, so you're invading places that people are working and people are complaining about them not, contributing to society. And so the rhetoric during the campaign was we're going after the drug, leaders and the criminals and on and on. So it's like, what 8th grader is a criminal, is a drug king, people being arrested on their way to their graduation, things like that. So people are protesting. And also what I understand is that the people, ICE, is not identifying themselves. They have masks. They don't have any kind of way of, people don't even know who they are. And there's no due process of people being arrested. They're separating families. And so people are protesting this lack of judicial process. And I guess because they're protesting, then now the National Guard and the Marines have been called in. So it's everything I've heard is this sort of overkill for what has happened and escalating things. And it's also a very, very small area of Los Angeles. So the images that are coming to us conflate, the severity of the protest.
And it's making it seem like it's the entire, Los Angeles has been engulfed by this scenario. And what's really heating it up is law enforcement. I saw this just painful, awful video of 4 or 5 men on horses, on the sidewalk, hitting people with sticks that are just walking down the street. And for you and me who come from, our African American ancestry, we specifically know the pain of that in our lifetime. I mean, you and I experienced this as real people, not something we read in a book. It's part of our living history. And to see that happening now, for folks just walking down the street, protesting peacefully, it's hard to see that. And I'm not even going to say the words America can do better. We know America should be doing better. It's not doing better right now. But I'm just glad to have fighters like you in the fight.
So, I know we're running out of time, but I'll just say this last thing. I think what I'm doing with the articles that I'm writing is trying to tie the past to the present, and what you just said. There's a long history of, this country suppressing, oppressing, erasing, co-opting, marginalizing, merchandising off of our pain. And at the same time that they are erasing the origin of the pain, so this country, as a capitalist country, likes to make money off of and merchandise things that come out of pain. And what we're seeing right now in Los Angeles is a continuum of this idea of who belongs in our country and who doesn't belong in our country, who's American, who's not American. So I just feel strongly that we need people who are not in the spaces where these things are happening, need to be aware of how these things can escalate. And it's not just, those people over there. No, it's all of us. And Gavin Newsom even said it. It's like, okay, you're thinking that this is just in California. No, this is the whole United States that is affected. And it's just not happening where you live right this minute. But it will happen all over the country.
Especially if we don't stand up and fight it anywhere that it is. If it's happening there, like Gavin Newsom said, and like Mayor Wu of Boston said, it can happen here. And even Mayor Johnson is leaned into that. So, Michelle, I sit here like a student with the pen listening to you, and I'm writing down words and writing down things that you've observed. And that's how much and so much why I appreciate you so much, and that you've been willing to be a contributor to the show and let folks know that there is a different way that we can handle these things. You guys need to get with Michelle because she is prolific in her writing. Let folks know one more time how they can find you, how they can catch up with you, and how they can follow you.
The easiest way is I'm on social media. My handle is Michelle Duster, and my website is mldrights, WRITES.com.
Check out her latest article in Rebellious magazine for women. Thanks, Michelle, for being with us. Have a great, safe weekend, and we will talk to you soon.
You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye now. Guys, stay tuned for our progressive WCPT progressive lineup. The Stephanie Miller Show, my radio sister on the West Coast. Tom Hartman Show, Professor of Everything Progressive. Joan Esposito, live local progressive. Patty Vasquez, my bookend, Driving You Home. And tomorrow, none other than another great Michelle Peltier will be with us. We'll be sitting in with you tomorrow for me and running with my man Henry. So you guys enjoy the show tomorrow. Take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you next week.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I volunteer with United Way, reading to children to help prepare them for a better academic future. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Taking control. This is Dr. Anna Pellick from Total Dentistry. Most Americans appreciate the freedom and opportunities they have living in the U.S. We thrive on the idea of individual choice and being in control of our own destiny. But how free are we?